Hi everyone! Coming at you today with what I hope is a fun and helpful video, which is Single Dad Romance Book Recs. Almost all of these books I own physically because Single Dad is my favorite trope. Like age gap, Single Dad it's my favorite trope to read about. Okay, my daddy issues said yes. I'm really excited. I have 11 books to talk about. Like I wanted to keep it at 10, but then I snuck in a extra one at the end. So I believe it's 11 books. And if you're like, Kelly, do you know how to count? I think I do. So yeah, simple video. We're gonna walk through some of my favorite single dad romance recs. Some of these books are in fact some all-time favorites because like I said, this is my trope. I love it so much. All you have to do is tell me that that man is a father and I am like, yes, we'll be reading immediately. Let me just wrap up this intro and let's get right on into the Single Dad Romance Book Recs. A little behind the scenes action. I have the whole pile of books in my lap right now. Let's actually start with the one book that I don't have a physical copy of, and that is Chasing Him by Kennedy Fox. This is actually the third book, I believe. Yeah, it's book number 3 in their Bishop Brothers series. So this series really stood out to me because, you know, they were pitched to me as small town, spicy cowboys. And I will say, not even though the family does own a ranch, not every book in this series is a cowboy. Like literally the second book, the brother is a doctor. So they're not like full cowboy westerns, but you definitely do get those strong small town vibes. Chasing Him is, you know, the single dad. I can't remember the characters' names in this one for the life of me. I apologize. Basically the setup for this one, and it's a little bit like unbelievable. So apparently this lawyer, they literally said it was a lawyer, someone with a position of power. It was not actually the mother herself, but someone literally drops the baby off at the dad's doorstep. So the mother of, you know, his child is gone. There's actually a connection to the other books in the series, which is why I would recommend reading them in order if you're interested. First book in the series is called Taming Him. So our guy gets the baby and then it turns into a single dad nanny situation. So the girl is back in this small town and she needs a job, she needs money. I just loved how the main guy was with the baby, and he was definitely a little bit on the grumpy side. He was definitely like a grumpier brother, and he had a younger brother who is book 4, and like he was being a little flirty with the girl, and he was like, not on my watch, you do not flirt with my nanny. And it was just really cute. It was really sweet. I'm so sorry I can't remember the characters' names. I definitely like the spice in here as well. I think Kennedy Fox like really do a good mix of cute small town vibes with, you know, some sweet and spicy moments. And I just thought this one was really fun. My friend actually, when she saw me reading the series, she was like, oh yeah, book 3 is going to be your favorite. I think book 2 and 3 are tied. I actually really liked book 2 with the brother who was the doctor. But again, this one is definitely really solid. I think this series is really underrated, so that's why I wanted to include it in this video. Next up, we have Make Me Yours by Melanie Harlow. Spoiler alert, this is not going to be the first Melanie Harlow book in here because that woman loves a single dad. Her new book coming out called Runaway Love, literally in May, is a single dad. Okay, no one does a single dad like my Melanie. So this is the second book in her Bellamy Creek series. So this book follows Cole and Cheyenne. This book, they don't really have the biggest age gap in this book, but Cheyenne is his best friend's sister. So I believe Beckett is book 4. Griffin is the guy in the friend group who we see in book 1, which is called Drive Me Wild. So it's his sister Cheyenne and his best friend Cole. Okay, so in this book, they're next door neighbors. It is not a single dad nanny situation. They are just people who know each other because, again, it's his best friend's younger sister. They have like one night. It's not even a hookup. They have a spicy little phone call, and it was really, really hot. I love Melanie Harlow spice. But anyways, after they have that night, they're like, oh no, this is bad, this is forbidden, we like can't be attracted to each other like this. But obviously, you know, things escalate between them anyway. This one also, the main guy Cole is definitely dealing with things from his past, and it's a little hard for him to open up to people and connect to people. So it's that kind of storyline where they both help each other, you know, overcome difficult thing. I mean, the Bellamy Creek series is one of my all-time favorite series. I'm literally obsessed, and I can't recommend it enough because I think the books are so underrated in terms of Melanie's backlist. And this was just a really cute, I mean, single dad romance. His daughter was really precious. I loved the relationship that that Cheyenne developed with the daughter, because Cheyenne's actually also a school teacher. So, you know, obviously she's very good with kids. But overall, I really enjoyed this book. And like I said, it's definitely underrated and more people need to check it out. Okay, let me just talk about the other two Melanie Harlow books right after Make Me Yours. So we have Irresistible and Ignite. So here's the thing. Irresistible is the first book in her Cloverleaf Farms series, and then Ignite is the first book in her Cloverleaf Farms second generation series. And here's the thing, again, you can technically read them in any order, because I read Ignite first. Ignite was the first Melanie Harlow book that I ever read. Obviously, I fell in love and she became a new Insta favorite author. And then I went back and read Irresistible. And it's really cute because Irresistible, the couple in here, the dad, the single dad in Irresistible, is the girl's father in Ignite. So that's why it's called second gen. So our main guy in Irresistible, what is his name? I can't remember. This is Franny, and please tell me, does it not say his name on the back? Come on. Mac. It's Mac. And guess what? This is a single dad nanny book. It's actually precious. I will say I did like Ignite a little more than Irresistible, and I just like Cloverleaf Farms. Well, actually, I haven't read all of Cloverleaf Farms first generation yet, but I have read all of Cloverleaf Farms second gen, and I just loved how second gen, 3 out of the 4 books in second generation are the daughters in Irresistible, because Mac does have 3 daughters. I loved them. They were just so charming and cute, and especially like Ignite, like the way Dex and his little girls in the beginning, they were so cute and funny. I just loved it so much. This one is like she's their neighbor situation, so that's how they end up connecting. This is why Melanie Harlow and I are friends, and this is why I love her, and she's everything, because she just loves a single dad. She loves an age gap, and I appreciate her so much. Then let's get into more of a darker romance. We have a mafia book. So this is Vow of Deception by Rena Kent. I read this recently, and let me tell you, I'm obsessed. This is actually the first book in her Deception trilogy. I haven't finished the trilogy yet. I've only read the first one, but I absolutely loved this. The setup for this book is really interesting because Aiden literally sees Winter, and Winter is homeless, I believe. I believe she's like literally living on the street. He sees her and he literally snatches her up. It is kind of like a kidnapping situation, obviously turned into forced proximity, because he's like, hey, guess what? You look just like my dead wife. You look just like her, and I need someone to stand in and be my wife. Apparently there's like this rumor going around about doppelgangers, and if one doppelganger sees the other doppelganger, that other doppelganger dies. So he's like, well, you're my wife's doppelganger. She's dead. You need to be my wife. And if you're like, wow, Kelly, he sounds like a great guy. Listen, I just had so much fun with this book, and I really understand why the girlies love Rena Kent so much. It's definitely, like I said, it's very dark. The spice in here was so good, but it's also definitely like kind of shocking. Like there was a moment in here where I was like, oh my God, he's not. And then it kind of had a twist. And of course, Aiden is a single dad. You do find out literally as soon as Winter gets to his house within the first couple chapters, he does have a son. I think Winter really formed a really sweet relationship with the son. This book does end on a cliffhanger. Like I said, it's a trilogy. And if you want a mafia single dad and you love dark romance and you haven't checked out Rena Kent and her books yet, I think this was a great one to start with. I'm happy this was my first Rena Kent book. The woman has a very large backlist and a lot of her books are connected, and this just really did the job because I liked the writing, I liked the spice, I liked like the darkness and the drama, that I'm totally invested. Cannot wait to finish the series. It's a nice quick read as well. I listened to it on audio. Great audiobook. It's literally Jason Clark and Desiree Ketchum, who we'll talk about in another audiobook that they narrated that I listened to, and I just thought it was great. Next up, we have a sports romance single dad. Yay! So this is Hookshot by Kennedy Ryan. This is the third and final book in her Hoops trilogy. I feel like this book, compared to the other Hoops books, kind of flies under the radar, and this book was my favorite. Was this book my favorite because Keenan is a single dad? Maybe. But also there was just so much about this book that I absolutely loved. So this book follows Keenan and Lotus. Lotus works in fashion, I believe, and that's how she gets set up with Keenan. So I think Keenan ends up working for a brand who she works for. I read this book so long ago, I can't remember the exact setup for this book, but Keenan is obviously a single dad. I just loved Lotus actually. She said in this book that she went to FIT, which is the school that I went to. And so they end up spending time with each other. They go on dates, and I just thought their chemistry was so good. Like when they went on their first date, and I listened to this on audio, I just like had the warm and fuzzies. Like I felt like I was there, like I was getting giddy for them. I just loved the way the relationship played out in this book. Obviously there is a little bit of an age gap. It has, you know, darker themes in here. This book definitely isn't as dark as Longshot, but I would still check your triggers. Lotus definitely does have some things in her past. And I just really enjoy this book. I think it's so underrated, and it's probably, is it my favorite? Well, maybe next to like Before I Let Go, it's probably my favorite Kennedy Ryan book. I just think it's so, so good. Another small town, iconic, I think, single dad book, we have All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. So this book literally follows Aurora and Rhodes, Daddy Rhodes. So Aurora is back in this town because her mother, who passed away, was very into hiking, and she left something, like she found something where it was like the trails that her mom used to hike, and one of them is in this town. So she rents like an apartment above someone's garage. She rents the apartment actually from Rhodes's son. So when she arrives at the house, Rhodes is like, "Who is that?" And the son was like, "Well, we wanted the money, so I rented out the apartment." And he was like, "Why did you do that?" Obviously, Rose is quite grumpy, but he ends up letting her stay there anyway. So it's not a full forced proximity, but they are in the same area, which I love. This book is definitely a slow burn. All of Mariana Zapata books are slow burns. And let me tell you, I will say, I listened to this book on audio. I finished the audiobook very quickly, even though, you know, again, it is a longer book. And I was enjoying everything that was happening. But really, once this book gets out of the slow burn territory, like maybe the last, what is it, 30 to 40% of the book, when things really start picking up and Rhodes really gets protective and shows how much he cares for Aurora, I was living. I was having so much fun. I was eating this book the fuck up. This is probably my favorite Mariana Zapata book, next to Wall of Winnipeg and Me and Wait for It. I just really like, I'm telling you, like once Daddy Rhodes was in full daddy mode, I was literally obsessed with them. I also love the small town vibes in here. If you love like camping, animals, you know, those outdoorsy vibes, I think you will really enjoy this. Again, totally recommend the audiobook. I loved it on audio, and Daddy Rhodes is just a daddy who everyone, you know, should experience. And again, if you like slow burn romances as well, this is the book for you. This book is extremely popular for good reason. It's one of my all-time favorites. It's a lot of people's new favorites. We all love Heartless by Elsie Silver. Another single dad nanny. Woo! This is book 2 in her Chestnut Spring series. First book is Flawless. This follows Willa and Cade. Willa is Summer's best friend, who is featured in Flawless. She needs something to do for the summer, and Cade is being very picky when trying to find a new nanny for his son. And finally, Summer's like, "Why doesn't my friend Willa do it?" So she shows up. She's definitely more of like a free spirit. She like plays guitar. Obviously, a nice little age gap in here as well. Willa is just the best. I mean, she is an icon, a legend. She is the moment. Her relationship with Cade's son was so incredible. She's so funny, and I just love the balance between Cade being the grumpy single dad and Willa being such a free spirit. This book is so fun. It's so sexy. really steamy, and it just has everything in here. He takes care of her when she's sick. She gets really protective over, you know, the son, and I just, give me a cowboy single dad any day of the week. Any day of the week. I know the first book is called Flawless, but this book is actually flawless. Again, one of my favorite books of all time. Cade is in the Book Boyfriend Hall of Fame. I love him. Okay, Daddy Cade is the best. Okay, I shifted my position slightly because the sun decided to come out. So, I mean, maybe I'll have a nice little sunshiny glow to me right now. But we are almost done. Next up, another book in a series of connected standalones. We have The Single Dad by Marnie Mann. I will say, this series as a whole, it goes the lawyer, the billionaire, the single dad, the intern, and then the new one coming out is called The Bachelor. I binged all of these books on audio, and overall, is the series my absolute favorite? No. But was this book a true standout and my favorite in the series? Yes. This book actually has a similar, not like, it kind of has a similar setup to the Kennedy Fox books. She literally comes and drops the baby off on Ford's doorstep and is like, I can't take care of this baby. You can, because you have all this money. So here you go. Here's your daughter. And he is like, well, my life has changed. I now have this child from this, you know, one night stand with this woman. And that's that. And then years have passed, and every single book in this series, I don't know why, but it literally starts off with the main Dalton brother, or whoever the book follows in the Dalton family. The intern doesn't follow a brother. But it just starts off with the main guy literally hooking up with the main girl, you know, who he ends up with, and then them reconnecting later on. So after a night of passion with the main girl, what is her name? What is her name? So after Ford hooks up with Sydney, you would never guess, she ends up being the nanny. Yay! How many single dad nanny books? I think what were half of them? Single dad nanny, almost half of the books. You see Ford's daughter, actually, her name is Everly, in the other books in the series, and she's really cute and sweet and like bubbly, and I think they set up his story really well. He's book 3 in the series, like I said, and I just thought Ford was really just delicious, actually, I must say. These books are very spicy. I was like shook when I read the first one how spicy these books were. This one I just thought was so sweet. Sydney was so good with Everly. Everly was a really cute kid to read about. I know some people don't like reading about kids in books. They find them annoying, but I thought the daughter in this book was quite charming. Ford was very protective over his daughter. He had such a good relationship with her. And yeah, there's some twists and turns in this book as well that I wasn't expecting. The audiobook, they're quick reads. I thought it was really fun. But definitely check out these Marnie Mann books if you just want a quick, spicy good time. Funny how we're ending on these last 2 books, which are 2 of my favorite books of all time. Well, actually, literally, this one is my favorite book of all time. So let's talk about it. Welcome to the Dark Side by Gianna Darling. I have brought up this book so many times on my page, so I won't talk about it for too long. But yes, this is book 2 in Gianna's Fallen Men series. Zeus Garrow is a single dad, and he has actually 2 older kids who literally get other books in the series. His son King is book 1, Lessons in Corruption. His daughter Harley Rose is book 3, Good Gone Bad. This book is a very, very heavy age gap between Zeus and Lulu. It's motorcycle club, dark romance. The heavy age gap in here is not going to be for everyone. This book literally starts off with Zeus saving Lulu when she was a child from literally being shot in the street. He ends up going to prison. They write each other letters in prison. Lulu actually has cancer. This book just has so much going on. They reunite when Lulu's older and Zeus is like out of prison, literally president of this motorcycle club. She's working at this strip club. Like, there's so much. This book is so wild for me to explain to people. I don't care about any other book in this world as much as I care about this book. This book is everything to me. Zeus Garrow is the untouchable single dad. I will never read a male character who I like more than him, that I know for sure. If you like dark romances, please check out the entire Fallen Men series. I'm literally obsessed with it. I think every book is a banger. Obviously, this one is very special to me. I, again, would read them in order. Can you technically read it as a standalone? Yes. This is also the #1 series next to the Trails of Sin series by Pam Godwin that people come to me and they say that they read per my recommendation and they love it. I think it's the funnest series to binge. I binged this whole series on audio, actually. So the first time that I read this book was on audio, narrated by Jason Clarke and Desiree Ketchum, who, like I said, did Vow of Deception. And let me tell you, Jason is Daddy Zeus. He really, like, if you can listen to it on audio, I absolutely would, because he just added to the story so much, because he literally is what he's supposed to sound like. Like you cannot tell me that Jason Clarke doing Daddy Zeus, like that's literally him. I can't imagine Zeus Garrow sounding any other way. It's a perfect audiobook, my favorite book of all time, and of course I had to sneak it in here. I did, like, how can you not love this face? Like, mwah. It's just my favorite book ever. My favorite book ever. And then lastly, another book that I've talked about multiple times on my page because I think it's criminally underrated. We Have Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. This book is actually a fake dating romance between Farley and Meyer. Meyer is a single dad. Farley's a stand-up comic. Meyer is her manager. They do have a friends to lovers relationship as well. So Farley is asked to be the opener on this really big tour with female comics, and they're like, hey, to generate buzz for it, why don't you date someone? Why don't you like fake date someone? And Meyer's like, ayo, you're not dating anyone, you're gonna date me, okay? You're not just dating a random person. And Meyer is actually because there is a little bit of an age gap between them, Meyer is like a former comedian. So it's their fake dating. Meyer's a single dad. His daughter is actually deaf. And one of the reasons why, you know, Meyer is so drawn to Farley when they first meet, you know, years prior to him being her manager, is because she actually knows sign language and can communicate with their daughter. So she has a wonderful relationship with the daughter. The whole just found family element to this book was so beautiful. This book had me nonstop crying. This book really means the world to me. It is so beautiful and you absolutely should read it, okay? It's much more than a single dad fake dating book. It's just perfect. Like, I've never cried so much because I loved something so much, and their relationship was so beautiful between all three of them. Like, this book definitely has the strongest like family unit between the single dad, the girl, and the child, and it's just incredible. You have to read it. Okay, I don't even need to talk about this book too long, because all you need to know is that you need to read it. Okay, bye. One thing about me is every time I film a video, my battery will die. So that was it. That is the end of my single dad book rec video. If you have any other single dad book recs that you love, please leave them down below. Also, please let me know any other book rec videos that you would like to see from me. Like, do you want dark romance? Do you want like small town? Just let me know. I read the works and I'm here to help. As always, you can follow me on all of my socials that are linked below: Instagram, TikTok, Goodreads. Keep up with me and what I'm reading. And if you like this video, please subscribe. It means so much to me. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!